And away we go. I am recording this podcast episode at a much earlier time than I usually would, not just for the sake of building a massive backlog for when I'm going on holiday somewhere, or I'm just not going to be recording, if that's even possible. I'm also, and on this specific occasion, I am going out to see a performance that my colleagues that I went to college with are in the cast of. Why does my watch say that I'm stressed at 70 ms? Anyway, going to see my colleagues in a show, and yeah, it's going to be great. So, on with the episode, as it should. I've only sent two things to the group chat for the lads to look at. The first of which, this is I saw an Instagram post, then the headline within that post picture that reads, News, UK iPhone users must now prove their age or lose full internet access. And I replied with, the actual freak is going on? Question mark, exclamation mark. Yeah, like what the actual freak is going on? What kind of draconian society are we living in anyways? And this is an issue. A lot of people, regardless of political beliefs, backgrounds, whatever walks of life, they will say, "What's the point? Why are you putting these measures? Why are you preventing people from doing stuff just because you want people to verify what their age is, whether or not they're adults or they're minors? What are they going to use that data for?" These are questions that people will ask. What is the point? Can we not trust our society anymore? Are people that desperate? Not all, but not all people. Are there people in this world that are desperate to bring forward a new phase, a new era of living in our world where in order to access the internet, access establishments, or do anything, you need to have some form of identification, or at least show that you are of legal age. If not, no, 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 you can't go in. Scooty moot, cheerio. Whilst there's no arguing about in the next few years, technology is going to continue to be advanced, and there will be technologically advanced surveillance for the sake of keeping others safe, at the expense of taking away people's liberties, people's freedoms, then of course people are going to say, we don't want this because you're preventing me from going on about my life. You're preventing me expressing my opinion. You're preventing me from accessing services that I need for my life, for my job. You're preventing me from accessing services that is essential for whatever condition that I'm diagnosed with. And do not get me started on the mental health services. Discussions like that have to be taken seriously and have to be dealt with in a sensitive light. What I'm saying is, what if measures like this go into the territories of people accessing mental health services? Now, surely that is never going to happen, nor it should, ever. If it does happen, well, what does that say about how life for everyone in the world goes forward, wherever people live? People will say, oh, sounds like a great idea, until eventually this gets implemented in the real world, and then there are problems that is not just a nuisance or an inconvenience, it is a serious, genuine concern that severely affects negatively people's lives, livelihoods, their jobs, and just going on about their life in general. People say they want to introduce new measures, new technology, until people realize that the dangers, cautions, the concerns that comes with new implementations and the effects that will have on people. That a lot of people, once they experience these concerns, that immediately they will say, "Okay, I see how this could go wrong. I don't want these implementations anymore. I want to go back, please. Go back 5 steps down the snakes in Snakes and Ladders. I want to go down the snakes now. I don't want to win this game anymore." It is discussions like that will be brought up, if not now, in the next few years. And there was a time people don't have smartphones that we have now. A lot of teenagers in high school, they have flip phones in the noughties. That was the closest thing to the technology that we have today, which they can use to communicate with their friends and family members in case of an emergency. What happened to those times? Either way, what's done is done. We've opened Pandora's box, and if anyone believes that there is any way of going back, well, you are sadly mistaken, my guy. You are sadly mistaken. Alright, finally, I sent another screenshot into the group chat. The inspiration, the context behind me sending the screenshots that I sent to the lads in the group chat, which is not the one about UK iPhone users having to prove their age to access the internet, I came across a reel on Instagram. The content creator in question is from America, and whilst I don't pay attention to any of his stuff, nor know what his username is, one thing that stood out to me is there have been times, not sure when, there have been times he had been critical of something, of anything related to Israel and or Jewish people. Not that I agree with any of these claims that he has made in the past, but that's what I know. He went on to Google Trends, this content creator I came across a while ago, quite recently. He searched up his own username that he has on Instagram and a lot of social media accounts onto Google Trends, looking at search results by people from within Israel, and to his surprise, and mine as well, there have been at least up to 100 search term results in one day on a specific day, and all the other days in whatever time frame he set, it was all zero. That's what I've seen, and that's what the content creator in question saw with his own eyes, and how he reacted. Like, why are that many people? No, not many people. Why are there so many search results in one day? Looking at my social media accounts, he didn't say exactly that. It's at least the lines of what he projected to his fan base and other users on Instagram. Now, people will say, "So what? No big deal." Or other people will say, "Oh my gosh, are they onto him?" What I would say is, no, before I get into that, the reason why there will be people online that will say that to have specifically 100 search term results in one day from people within Israel is because, and I've seen many videos many months ago where people went onto Google Trends looking up search term results made by people within Israel, looking at name of a town or name of the country, followed by attack or shooting. For example, Manchester attack, Manchester shooting, Durham shooting, Durham attack. Others put Bondi Beach, or people pretty much puts in as a search term a name of a location followed by attack or shooting. And they looked at this specifically within the Israel side of Google, the Israeli side of Google Trends, and what a lot of people saw, that this has been a very common theme across those videos I've seen a while ago. Amongst the search terms of location, shooting, or location name, attack, they saw that there was specifically 100 search term results for that specific search term, and any other day within the last 90 days, last 2 months, past week, whatever time frame you want to look at it was all zero. It was only one specific day. The number of search term results that popped up for that specific search term for a name of a location, wherever that might be, a town or country, and then shooting, attack thereafter. 100 search term results on one day. Every other day, it was zero. And what these creators that made these videos that I've seen a while ago, what they are saying is that these creators are saying that if you see search term results like that on Google Trends amongst people within Israel, is an indication for an event of that search term that people put in, like Manchester, Durham, Bondi Beach, etc., attack or shooting. In a few weeks or a few months from now, that search term, which not many people look up, will become reality. And they actually will happen eventually, as mentioned or has been said by these content creators. And then a few months later, the same search terms that people put in a while ago, that people a couple of months ago had put in, or at least for some reason there was a specific number of 100 search term results for town name shooting, town name attack. It actually happened many months after 100 specific search term results from within Israel were made. And now, getting to the screenshots, which I have sent to the lads in the group chat. I did this myself. I looked up at specific search terms, not just looking at shootings or attacks for specific places. I took a different route and tried to look at this from a different angle. I put the search term, The Alone Show, this podcast. Of course, I have to spell it without putting the special characters because I'm not sure if people in Israel using the Latin alphabet would ever use specialized characters that's used specifically in specific languages. So I just put the name of So I just typed down on Google Trends The Alone Show, but spelled ALOO, just regular O's, N-E. And then, of course, out of curiosity, I put down the region, Israel, past 90 days, as shown in the screenshot I showed to the lads, all categories, web search, and then looking at the search term results on Google Trends in the last 90 days, as of me sending that screenshot, which was on the 3rd of April, I looked at a very specific spike. I looked at that spike. It reads March 1st, 2026, search term The Alone Show. 100. Specifically 100 search term results for The Alone Show, but made by people, or made within Israel. When I sent that screenshot to the lads in the group chat, I responded directly with, now, before any of you say, no, the Jews are onto him, it's not the Jews. I'll be honest right now, it is not the Jews. Even if it was true, what are they going to do to me? No, I'm not saying I'm not saying I'm not scared of them. I'm just asking, if I was to be critical, what are they going to do to me? I'm genuinely curious. And I'm being honest with myself here. Now, does that mean I'm going to be unalived or whatnot, whatever? Well, no. Because firstly, when I tried looking up my podcast as a search term on Google Trends within the Israel geographical region, this is not this is completely separate to the claims or many content videos made by creators about the shootings or attacks that people say that if you see these search terms, that's when these attacks could happen months from now, from that specific day. How is this similar? What's the similar? Does these search terms in Israel mean that something's going to happen to me horrifically? Is this podcast over? No, I don't believe so. And again, I'm not trying to be a tough guy and say, oh, I'm not scared of them. Nor am I trying to appease Jewish people. I'm trying to look at this as objectively as possible. And whilst I know lads in the group chat have in the past been critical of, also at least somewhat critical about what Israel's been doing regarding the Gaza Strip, I'm not sure what they think of what's going on in Iran and the Israeli military. I know the lads in the group chat have said things about Israel in the past regarding the Gaza Strip. And whilst I cannot argue with what they've said, at the same time, there is more than what the news would say. So back to the screenshot about my podcast getting specifically 100 search terms by some people in Israel in the past 90 days. Whilst people think this sounds scary, that something's going to happen to me, I'm not worried. That's not to say I'm free from any threats or anything. You can't jump to conclusions to say that, oh, it's the Jews. Even if there are Jewish people that are billionaires, have so much money that can make an impact in whatever goes on in the world, you can't just say that all Jews are like that. You can't say that all Jews want what's bad for society. Like with any other people group, the Muslims, the Arabs, Sino-Asians, Indic Asians, people groups in Europe, specific races, people of religious faiths, and so on. You can't just say that this people group are bad people. You can't say that these people group are like this, they are like that, they have these things, and say that everyone of that specific people group are like that. You never know. You'll come across that said person of a particular people group that are nothing like the stereotypes that you think these people group are. That's at least what I'm taking into consideration. Even if a lot of people of a particular group behave like this, they have this kind of knowledge, and this is the culture they have, that is not to say that everyone of that people group are like that. They behave like this. They have this kind of knowledge. There will be, not a lot, there will be few exceptions. Not to stick out and say, oh, we're not all like this, not trying to prove a point that these stereotypes are false. There are different factors to how people live their lives. And in relation to the screenshot about my podcast getting 100 search term results by people in Israel, it's only one spike. It's not like that spike is going to pop up again. And if it does happen again, what's going to happen after that? What does this indicate, if anything? And even if there is a pattern that does reoccur, what if it doesn't happen? What happens next? Could this be a one-off? Are there different factors that could back the reason why these events have happened in a particular pattern to begin with? So maybe it's not the search term results in Google. It could be another factor. And if that factor doesn't play into this whatsoever, then that's why these events aren't happening. So yeah, that's what I believe, and these are my opinions of what I think of what the search term results are. And whilst many people will make a row about, again, the Jews, not all of them, not all Jews, and I have nothing against Jewish people. I don't believe that all people groups are as bad as other people around the world make them out to be. I try to be open-minded. Even when circumstances are difficult, I try to have an open mind. And yeah, that's all of the stuff that I've sent to the lads in the group chats for them to have a look at and just have a thought about where is this world coming to? Where is this world turning to? So now, with all that being said, let's get right into the news. The rest of the news. Sophie Turner, injury halts filming on Tomb Raider TV show. Oh wait, I've already read this. Oh, you know what? I'll read it again anyway. Amazon MGM Studios announced a brief production pause on the new Lara Croft series after lead actress Sophie Turner sustained a minor injury. Filming in Los Angeles, which began in January, is currently suspended. The Sun reported Turner has a pre-existing back injury that progressed while working on set. Amazon MGM Studios confirmed the pause as precautionary, though no further incident details have been released. Created by Phoebe Waller-Bridge, the series features Sigourney Weaver and Jason Isaacs. The show follows archaeologist Lara Croft's adventures, with Turner pictured in the character's iconic green tank and shorts. Turner takes on the Tomb Raider mantle following Angelina Jolie and Alicia Vikander. Jolie starred in the original films, while Vikander portrayed the adventurer in the 2018 feature. Amazon MGM Studios expect to resume filming as soon as possible, though the project currently lacks a scheduled release date. Previously stated, she is thrilled beyond measure to play the role. Well, again, I know I've covered this story in another episode quite recently. I will say it again. I hope Sophie Turner recovers from whatever injury she has, and in regards to the movie in question, hopefully does pretty well. I'm not too interested in the franchise, the Tomb Raider franchise. I know people are fans of the film, and I know a lot of these fans of the Tomb Raider franchise are wanting to see great things coming out of this project, and I hope he does. Now, not 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 absolutely sure. I am not absolutely sure on how much money that's going to be generated from this movie specifically. It will make an impact. There will be a couple billions being made in the box office, if not hundreds of millions. Just a rough estimate guess. Not exact. It is something. It is absolutely something. Zara Larson backs Chaperones stance on evasive fan attention. Zara Larson is clarifying a comment she made about music charts being quote-unquote dead to her, and the only people who cared about them were industry people and quote-unquote Taylor Swift fans. The quote-unquote Lush Life singer initially said she was not worried about charts and faced backlash, prompting her to issue a statement soon after. Playing the charts game is so dead to me. No one's looking at the charts but industry people and maybe Taylor Swift fans, Larson said in an interview with The Guardian that was posted on Friday, April 3rd. The same day, Larson took to Instagram to post a statement explaining that she mentioned the quote-unquote bejeweled singer, quote-unquote, because no one plays the charts game like Taylor Swift, LOL. She's literally the best at it, and everyone knows that, she continued. It's not the read you guys it is not the read you guys think it is. And also, I care. 3 exclamation marks. Best believe I will try to release at least 2 different covers for my physical on my project after Midnight Sun. Lawson explained that she said what she said because she now feels she has some cultural value in pop music, something I've never had to this level, but I'm not in a position to influence charts. I still think you can be an amazing artist, and not charts. Those things are not mutually equal to me, and shouldn't be to any fans either, she added. Lawson reiterated that she would like her next album to top the charts and asked her fans to help her get there. Lawson's latest studio album, Midnight Sun, was released in September 2025 and includes singers such as Pretty Ugly, Midnight Sun, and Crush. And you know what? Good for her. Not just in terms of not listening to the charts, or at least I'd also say that good for her for at least standing on what she believes. Not to say that everyone is going to agree with her. At least people know where she stands. Now, what I want to know is, At what point did she mention about chaperone? Because that's what the headline read. This is... Oh, here we go. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Now we get into the headline in question. Sarah Lawson admires chaperone's stance on the attention she receives from fans and the paparazzi. The Pink Pony Club hitmaker has been criticized in some quarters for frequently speaking out about the invasive behavior of some members of the public, but her fellow pop star, Zara, is supportive of her viewpoint on the matter. Speaking to the Guardian newspaper, the Lush Life singer said, "The more people hate her, the more I love her. I don't like how she's been treated at all. When a woman has boundaries, I think people freak out. Men could do violent crime, criminal things, and people applaud them. But when a woman says, 'Stop following me,' it's controversial? It's like, you guys just hate women, actually." However, Zara does enjoy the attention that comes with fame, and is good friends with Addison Rae, who is also known for treating the spotlight like a game. The 28-year-old star said, "I kind of thrive on attention in all forms. When I was younger, I was like, I can't wait till I have paparazzi outside my house." She adds to Rae, "I think we both realize that life is a performance." Zara has become increasingly outspoken on certain issues, and insists that she will not go against her inner compass, even if it means she misses out on opportunities. The Swedish singer said, "Maybe pop stars aren't thought of as people taking a stand, but if you constantly go against your inner compass and morals, you lose yourself as well." Lawson revealed that she had no regrets about missing out on a lucrative brand deal after she joked about abortion with a fan on social media. The Can't Tame Her artist said, "I lost $3 million, which is the biggest brand deal I've been offered in my life. I was genuinely like, okay, losers! Exclamation mark." Zara also revealed that she takes inspiration from older female artists such as Madonna and her compatriot Robin, who recently faced a backlash for her risque performance about her new album, Sexistential. She said, "I think it's seen as okay to be horny and 40 unless you look 40. But if you dare show signs of aging, then you're discarded and put on a shelf and told you shouldn't speak about sex. I think it's so refreshing that Madonna is still out there and Robin is like, this is me. This is what I look like. And I'm still hot." Okay, that was what I was looking for. The last article I read was just talking about Sarah Lawson not caring about music charts, which I can't argue with. Well, people will look to charts about what is trending, which is the big artist. Such measures like that is so superficial. Even if people do make something or make a meaning out of these charts, how does this relate to the success of that artist in the next 10, 20 years? Are they still going to be topping the charts? Will their music still be listened to millions of fans decades later? That's what's important. Longevity. And having your work be appreciated and be respected in the next few years, not just now, the next few years in the long term. And in regards to Zara Lawson speaking about chaperone and about chaperone setting boundaries between herself and fans/paparazzis, I agree to that. I try to see the other side of this discussion. I just can't. I don't understand why we shouldn't set boundaries for ourselves. Why shouldn't we distance ourselves every now and then, not just from the limelight, but also set boundaries in regards to socializing with people? It is okay to set such boundaries. I'm trying to see the other side of this, how people would argue why boundaries isn't a good thing. I don't. I don't see any perspectives like that. And this is not, and I'm not going to say that this is an excuse for people to not go out, hang out with friends, or attend events. I do believe, although unrelated to the story I just mentioned, people should make an effort to step outside the box every now and then. Not to feel uncomfortable is about taking risks socially and prepare ourselves for the worst. Even taking that into consideration, that does not mean we shouldn't set boundaries for ourselves, physically or socially. Or have I actually spoken out about the other perspective? Either way, personally, I do agree with setting boundaries with yourself and other people. And even when people will say that you shouldn't. Actually, no, I'm not sure why I thought that was the other perspective. I don't know why. I've watched another. I watched an Instagram reel a while ago about we should normalize showing up to other events, even if you're not prepared for it. That's not the exact words of that video I've watched a while ago, quite recently. However, although unrelated to setting boundaries for yourself with other people in the public sphere, we should try go out more often. Yes, even if there are dangers in public spaces, I believe, other than trying to set boundaries for ourselves and having times to ourselves when we're not working is important, there should also be occasional times in our lives where we do go out, have a walkabout in your local city, go to social events organized either by your friends or your family members. At least do something where, at least do something in your life where you're not just staying stuck at home doing nothing. Or at least do something that doesn't involve your work. That's just me. I know that's not for everyone. If there are people that are bored with not doing much, just staying in one place all the time, then go out. Have fun. Stay safe, still have fun. And in regards to staying safe, and again, I know this is unrelated, although or somewhat related to some extent at the same time, I think everyone, especially women, should take self-defense classes. Now, that's not to say that we shouldn't call out on such abuse, assaults, or people trying to make us uncomfortable. The reason I would suggest people taking self-defense classes is so that if such threats do come your way, at least you come prepared and you'll scare the scary people away. The meanie weenies, although not that big to begin with. Nonetheless, it's absolutely worth taking self-defense classes, not just for your own safety, it's also to protect others that you know, friends, family, colleagues perhaps, another group of people you know. So yeah, that's a lot for me to say on one particular story. I'm not sure if it's the longest I've said on a specific story. Oh no, I think that was on another podcast. I was talking about Man United and the change of their manager. So yeah, that was quite the episode looking back. 3 Greek ministers quit as EU investigates alleged farm subsidy fraud. No. What's going on in Greece? On Friday, Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis replaced several cabinet officials to limit fallout from a widening scandal involving alleged fraud of European Union farm funds. Authorities alleged the scheme involved about $26.5 million in fraudulent payments since about 2018, with roughly 80% of pasture subsidies granted from 2017 to 2020. Siphoned to Crete. The European Public Prosecutor's Office (EPPO) probe now includes at least 20 ruling New Democracy Party members, and investigators demand on Wednesday that Parliament lift immunity for 11 MPs. following the resignations of Agriculture Minister Kostas Sisiaras, Civil Protection Minister Kefalogiannis, and Deputy Health Minister Dimitris Vatsopoulos, Mitsotakis appointed Mariatis Nas and Evangelos Donas to cabinet posts, warning the crisis could undermine political stability. Opposition parties rejected the reshuffle and renewed calls for early elections ahead of the scheduled election next year. So, farm funds are being mishandled by the seems of things. No, actually, mishandled is a very, very delicately kind way of putting this situation. This is a lot more serious than mishandling funds for farms. I've heard a while ago that a deal between the EU and Mercosur about produce grown in South America being exported to the European Union and its member states, and that is potentially likely going to be a threat to other European farming industries if it means the majority of food grown in farms are coming from South America, or at least countries in South America that are part of Mercosur. Not just because of the costs of growing food in South America, also the regulations for produce or farming in South America being much more minimal than it is in the European Union, as the European Union has so many rules and so many regulations for a lot of sectors that goes on in European countries to ensure, in words described by most people in the European Union, fairness, equality, possibly competitiveness within member states. Yeah, that's all I can think of in regards to what the EU is about, according to people within the European Union, roughly. That's what I've heard a while back. The deal between Mercosur and the European Union in regards to farming in their respective continents. And now I'm hearing about problems going on about the farming industry in Greece. Can't say I knew about this all along. Hearing the story right now starts to make a lot more sense to me. If you're giving funds to support a specific sector, and the funds for that specific sector, it's not being given out as it should have been appropriately been handed out, and support people within said sector, then there's going to be problems within said sector within that country. The corruption within the Greek government is a completely separate story altogether. Whilst relevant, that is another topic that people would get into on another day. Nonetheless, these payments, fraudulent payments, yeah, this is not looking good. Can't say I know much more than what I just said. Eric Taylor just sent something in our group chat in regards to the story about UK iPhone users having to prove their age or lose full internet access. He responded with, "Time to switch to Android, I guess." Yeah, if you're going to switch to Android because of what Apple is doing, then yeah, Apple will still continue to exist. How long will they continue to exist, even if people that use Apple are now switching to Android? So back to the story about Greek government fraudulent payments for the European Union farm funds. If the European Union are going to get involved with this case, they're going to investigate this for themselves and provide a verdict for what has happened regarding the farm funds for Greek farmers. I can't say that I would disagree with the European Union on that front. I have my thoughts about the European Union. I also have some things I don't agree with the European Union. one thing that's for sure is that if there is not just gross misconduct or not just mishandling, corruption amongst fraudulent payments, if if Supreme Courts in EU member states that's relevant to the case, or at least the Supreme Court in Greece, or a court that's within the European Union structure, are going to look into this. They provide a verdict looking at this is what the Greek government has done. We're going to deliver the verdict of paying this massive fine, and you're going to be spending a lot of time in the big house. I'd be with the EU on that. As much as I have my opinions on the European Union, I cannot argue that if there are serious concerns about how money's been handled for specific sectors, surely people have to be punished or should receive punishments that reflect their actions and the impacts they provide and the impact they have on those workers or sectors. I know Risk is strongly against the EU on a lot of things. I cannot argue if the EU are going to investigate this, which they are, and they're going to deliver a verdict for what they find. Hopefully, whatever these actions of these Greek government officials have committed, I hope that they get the punishment that reflects their actions and the impact they have created and influenced amongst people, not just in Greece, or the farmers in Greece, possibly farmers across the greater European Union ecosystem and its member states. It's not just people in Greece or farmers in Greece are affected in this. Other farmers in other member states, could have used those farm funds for themselves to improve on their farms and their agricultural sectors. Imagine imagine the opportunity cost and potential if the farm funds went to the other EU member states, if not gone to Greece, especially since a majority of those funds given to Greece to enhance their farming industries, it has been handled and payments have been made fraudulently. And although that is also another issue that even if the EU does provide great support for their member states, I do believe in my opinion, that I also believe there is concern about being too reliant on the EU for grants, funds, infrastructure, or just getting support from other international organizations, and especially getting support and relying on support from your own national government. That's just me. And whilst it is important that there are funds provided for many sectors that exist in our world, you can't rely too much on these funds in case whoever the next person gets in power decides, we're going to cut the funds. Don't question it. We are cutting the funds, they say. What happens then? I'm just saying, not that it will happen, and especially in the EU's case, that will not happen. I will say is, what would happen if whatever funds you're getting for particular sectors, it's not as much as is significantly less than what it used to be, or if there is delays of these funds being given to these workers, the farmers, the tech bros. No, forget the tech bros. Any sector in any country around the world, you never know what's going to happen, especially in the state of this economy. You always got to prepare yourselves. Whilst it is not necessary now, it's at least worth preparing yourself for circumstances that are way outside of your control. And that is it for the episode.